Yeah, here we go. I call this meeting to order, April 9th at 12 noon, monthly meeting of the town of Lake Santeetlah. For the invocation and pledge of allegiance, we have Kevin lead us.
Yeah, we'll stand up and pledge. Right hand over your heart. Ready to begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Lord, we just thank you for this meeting today. We thank you for all that have gathered here. We're grateful for the peacefulness as we see skirmishes and outbreaks of warfare around the globe. And Father, we've come to this peaceful place for the purpose of just observing your creation and celebrating life and our freedoms and the liberty that we have. God bless this meeting today and all that are here and those that can't be with us physically. We thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
And I hope that Bill Smith has some nice angels.
There you go.
Okay, a couple changes on our agenda for today. The broadband report, we're going to remove that for today. I'd also like to move from new business, if we have here, the Santeetlah Regional Library. Franklin Shooks is here to speak, and then our security report from Officer Lovin. I'd like to put these items before our old business.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The approval of the March 12th, 2024 council meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Presentation of the financial tax report as of March 31st, 2024. Kim Matheson.
We received $475.93 in taxes for March, and we are up to date for what we've collected up until this $475. And I do have a budget amendment that I'll talk to you guys about.
Okay. Ethics statement reminder that in accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it's the duty of every town of Lake Santeetlah council member to avoid conflicts of interest. If anyone has a conflict of interest with respect to any matters coming before the town of Lake Santeetlah council meeting today, please identify that conflict and refrain from any participation in the matter involved. We have Mr. Shook here. Shook here.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi. We have the Santeetlah Regional Library representative, Franklin Shook. He would like to report on upcoming matters for our budget.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much for inviting me here. As always, we appreciate the support of the town of Lake Santeetlah for your library system in Grand County. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Franklin Shook. I'm the director of the Santeetlah Regional Library. We do operate the library systems in Cherokee, Clay, and Grand County. I just wanted to talk a little bit and answer any questions you may have about our budget request. We have requested an increase from last year. We're requesting $3,514.20. Wanted to explain that the reasoning for that is our part-time people that we hire, we have hired them historically at about $10 an hour, and that hourly rate is not competitive with our current market. We are asking for an increase to 14 an hour for all part-time people across the region. So this is not something that we are only asking you for. We will also be asking the counties and the other towns that support us as well. Just wanted to make sure that you knew that was the reasoning for the increase. And just to give a little insight about what's coming down the line for the library, we are excited to be continuing to offer programs over at the Graham County Library. I know that Mary is working on, she has been doing some basket weaving classes. There has been lots of different craft things coming up, and there are lots of mountain music program every Thursday night. They teach guitar lessons. Feel free to come on down and share that with your town. Also, just to let you know, for every dollar that you all provide to the library, it not only does it go directly to the Graham County Library, but it results in over 200% return on investment for the value that your patrons are getting, which means that for every dollar you give, each patron is saving $2, over $2. And so far in the year 2023, I calculated it, all of the patrons in Graham County, so all residents in Graham County saved over $400,000 in library services that they didn't have to pay for because of your support. So just wanted to say thank you very much for that. And I'd like to open up the floor to any questions you all may have for me.
Well, you're talking about the return on investment. You're saying 200%, and that is just from the town of Lake Santeetlah, or is that involving Robbinsville and the county?
That's actually a total of all local investment, including the state investment as well that goes to Graham County. So that calculation considers all investment to that specific county, but it does not include any other county. It's only Graham County numbers.
Okay. I understand from last year, it was $2,400 of our budget to support, and that was to keep one employee on Monday for 4 hours to keep the library open on Mondays. The 14 increased to $14 per hour. Are you talking about that we would be covering the increase for more than this one person that we've been supporting?
No, it would be raising the hourly rate for that one person.
Just for that one person?
Yeah, so the one person is, so in the way this works out is we have coverage from our branch manager on Monday afternoons so that our library is open more during the week. And you all pay for a position. It's Miss Evelyn who works on Monday afternoons, and she's done a fantastic job helping keep the library open on Mondays so that we have more access to during the week to the library.
I understand that on Saturdays there's not as many people using the library. There are a number of people that are coming in on Mondays, so that may be for computer use, etc. But would it be more advantageous to not have the library open on Saturday to be able to support a salary increase?
So we're looking into those concerns, and happy to get back to you once we receive more data. At the moment, we don't have anything conclusive as far as specific to the day use of the library, but I am working on collecting that data and getting more information about that. So those are some things we are considering, but I'm not entirely sure until we get through the budget season and realize and determine what we have and what's available for us.
When will you have your budget to look at?
Well, our budget requests come to you all, and then the budget, once those are approved in June, then we will go back and look and see, well, did we receive an increase, did we not, and what measures are we going to need to take in order to change things based on rising costs.
What's his physical year? What's your physical year?
The fiscal year runs from July 1 to June 30, much like your Johnson County seal.
Do we have any other questions? We're still working on our budget, and we have many people here that are active with the Friends of the library as board members or very active members. So we like to support them as well as Santeetlah. So we're going to have to look at our budget a little bit more closely. We are our budget, we're looking at infrastructure as our council's goal of roads and broadband, as well as we're giving raises to our staff. So
I understand.
we have to look at our budget.
Absolutely, no problem whatsoever. One thing to note is that when you're considering infrastructure and broadband, the library serves as a place to help teach those people to use those resources as far as broadband adoption and internet use. Because there are a lot of people in the counties and towns that not only maybe they could get access to the internet, but once they get access to the internet, learning how to use it is a whole different thing. There are still plenty of those people on that edge of the divide.
Well, we're kind of a backwater for broadband and internet. Sometimes we don't even have it. We're surprised that we can have a meeting today. I do end up in the parking lot of the library on such days.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're
Even Saturdays.
Yeah.
So
So we're happy to work with you all, and just thankful for the support that you were able to get.
Either that or we all circle over to McDonald's, you know.
oh, I won't use the McDonald's.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Shook.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time. Yeah.
And we also have Officer Levin here today to talk about security in the town.
My name is John Levin. I'm a deputy sheriff for Graham County Sheriff's Department. I've been, providing security for the town of Santeetlah for the last 2-3 years. We patrol average of probably 30 to 36 hours a month. I think is what we're getting paid for. The town compensates us for Sheriff's Department for that. In return, you get a uniformed officer and a marked patrol vehicle and for that services. And I particularly, try during those time periods. I do it in 2-hour increments is what we're kind of building for and what I try to achieve down here. We come to the area and during that 2-hour period, I always try to make at least one circle around the big loop and check some of the outlying roads. And usually time allowing, whatever, I'll set stationary at the entrance to be visible. We've not had that many calls down here, luckily. I guess we do it's more of a high visibility patrol in a vehicle, and a uniformed officer try to deter crime is what I would say, I guess, for you all. We do have calls here occasionally or something, or I had one last week. It's like I said to some homeowners or people here. They 4 ladies waved me down when I was patrolling and said they'd been a large dog had accosted them, really thought, and they asked me to give them a ride home, and I did, and they lived on Village Drive. And actually I came and spoke to Kim and them, actually didn't have a lease law, and she said she do have. But it's just things we have occasionally, nothing, I see Scott usually, maybe on a weekly basis I'd say, for a short period of time when we're setting stationary somewhere or whatever. But if you have a concern or something you need more, you can call the Sheriff's Department or reach Kim and them and we'll try to help you, whatever. But on the whole, I think it's just, we're just making a presence here to maybe try to deter crime. If we do see somebody that's kind of looks out of place, then we can interact with them and try to maybe deter it more so. But usually, and I try to vary our times, we'll come during the day, 2 or 3 days a week, and then sometimes we'll come at 12 or 1 o'clock in the night or whatever. So I guess there's no set patrol time, it's just kind of when it's periodically when we feel the need or whatever, or it's convenient for us to come and whatever. If you have any questions or you have concerns, something you think you need addressed or something won't done more, you just can go through Kim or whoever there and they can reach out to us, or if it's something immediate you need, you can call the sheriff's department, and either myself or another officer can come and assist you to that. We have, I guess the most of we have during storms, we have alarm calls sometimes for residents where we can, it's a burglar alarm, sometimes it's calls the internet or phone system, sends out a false alarm, but we still have to respond if it's an incomplete 911 and go to the residents to make contact, try to with that. But I'm open to questions if you have anything or concern.
In your alarm calls, do you charge the homeowner after so many calls?
Not to my knowledge,
Whoa.
no. If it gets like it's an incomplete 911, you know, if it's not any of your fault, we just respond. And then you address AT&T or we'll tell the dispatch to contact, you know, the phone company and tell them, make them aware of this. Usually it's not the same people over and over. You know, we'll have like maybe one at your house one week, the next one somebody else's house. And most of the time it is phone related, unfortunately, and we'll respond. But it ain't just here, it's other places in the county too. During we have storms, it'll activate alarm systems and we still have to respond. They'll try to call back and see if they can make contact, but if they can't, they'll send an officer to try to verify, because occasionally it is somebody has failed and can't get up or something has happened, you know, whatever. So, but no, they don't billions, I don't think.
Thank you.
For being an officer of the county, do you make regular security checks of other, like, other communities here on the lake, or?
We do, we try to patrol the whole county. I guess you guys are getting more, when we're patrolling, I try to make a concerted effort. We like to actually document, make a concerted effort to come down here, like for those times I've billions for. Like we'll patrol, like the Fontana Village is similar to you all. If we get a call, there we go, but now an officer would probably not go there and stay 2 hours or 30 hours a month. We'd probably be like, you might go 2 hours a week or whatever, you know, just depends on the call volume, whatever. Because I'm dedicated to this, I make a concerted effort to come by whenever, or like when I'm not, like today is my off day. So I'm coming on, you know, when we're not sheriff's department, we can come and, you know, a lot more time or whatever. Where if I'm on my off day, I'm not going to Fontana Village to patrol. Out of the goodness of my heart. But we do patrol, like when we come this way, you'll check East Buffalo and across Creek and stuff of that nature. It's just that since you guys are paying for a service, you guys in return get more in return for that.
John, are y'all getting a boat?
I've heard that.
Well,
I've seen that in the Grant's car. I think the sheriff had mentioned he would like to have a boat, and I don't know that maybe it's to assist the county, I guess, in operations or search and rescue or whatever. I've done Marine Patrol for several years with another agency, and I don't think we're going to do it like enforcement on the lake. I think it's more like to assist the public, maybe.
historically, most of our break-ins have come from the lake.
Right. And it's just, you know, that's how we had that at Fontana Lake, they would do that, so, and it's hard. Over there in the wintertime more probably, when the lake was down, they drive in my boat. But yes, but I think we are getting a boat, he's requesting one.
Yeah, Chuck Edwards' office, I think, got funding.
Yeah.
Like a nice chunk, $80,000
Right.
for water rescue boat.
Yeah.
So does that mean that if there was an incident on the lake, that at some point, I don't understand if they bought the boat yet or where they would house it and all those kind of issues, but
We don't, to my knowledge, we don't have a boat yet. I think they've requested a boat and maybe it's gonna be approved, but I don't think they have a boat.
I've got one that I can.
You can give us, yeah. No. Rescue squad has boats, and then wildlife will respond. You know, we have some instances where, and then if it's something, we can call wildlife to assist us or whatever.
So this time, there's nothing out there, right? If there's a distress or something?
It'd be U.S. wildlife. Well, if there's a drowning or something, the county has a rescue squad. I guess Santeetlah has a boat, right, access to boats, I don't know. Maybe boat. It may just be members would use their own personal boats, I guess.
That's usually what happens.
Right, so moving past the boat situation, and I think Jim kind of touched on this, some of the citizens have questioned our additional costs in hiring you to come out additionally to what the county is supposed to, or the town, whoever's behind it all, doing it. And what they were concerned about is that now that you're out here on this random basis, that they're not giving us the additional time that we're allocated, or whatever that is, 1 day a week, 2 days a week, whatever it might be, that the county is supposed to give us. And so you keep a log, I understand, of when you're here and what time, is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so any citizen can come in and kind of see when and where and what you're up to. Can you share with our citizens here a little bit about your background? You're usually the officer on deck, correct?
Yes.
Or are there other people that are involved? Okay, yeah, give us your background, how long you've been in law enforcement, and kind of what your expertise is.
I've been in, I think, like 30 plus years. In 1992 or something, I went to State Academy and graduated. And then by 93, I went to Federal Law Enforcement Academy, graduated from it, and I worked for a federal agency for like 20-some years. And then I've been back as a patrol sergeant, I guess this time with the Sheriff's Department, approximately 3 or 4 years. So I've had like 30 years experience, but I've been back, and I think I've been doing this aspect of you all. When I came back, this is one thing they asked me to do, and I've been doing this about 30 years. But,
Were you with TVA?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay, great, thank you for sharing that. And then one last question. One of the only things that I've heard from our citizens, and I've only been here a few years, is that in the summertime, our population increases, obviously, because we have more guests and we have more people renting properties and doing that nature. And noise abatement seems to be an issue. People get to partying and having a good time, and sometimes they're up late, and nearby neighbors complain that after X, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever, that noise should be ceasing and desisting. And so they call me or whatever, and I said, well, don't call me, call you guys, especially after midnight. And so I was just wondering how you respond to those, and like, let's say, okay, yeah, we'll calm down, and then the noise starts all up again. What do we do about that?
You can call us. The town of Robbinsville has a noise ordinance. It's been a nightmare, actually,
Okay.
because everybody calls about barking dogs and loud music.
Yeah?
If you just want to live in a police state where it gets to where, like, you can call us and we can come and try to enforce. You all don't have, my knowledge, don't have a county ordinance or city ordinance that would be in place, and you would have to go through your legal team to make it something we could legally enforce.
Okay.
I would suggest, like, you need to be good neighbors to each other. That's what we would try to say. If we come and say, hey, your neighbors call and complain, will you be quiet? You can't ignore your complaint. And maybe they will. If you have a neighbor that's believer and won't, there's nothing we can do unless they get this to the point where they get out off their own private property, get in the roadway, or they assault us or gets us disorderly where it's against the law. But,
Okay.
yeah.
So really, you have like limited ability.
Yeah, there's not a noise ordinance for the county. Like you call, not just here, they call us at Santeetlah, somebody's dog's barking. I can go address that and talk to them. And hopefully they'll quieten down if they're shooting guns at 1 o'clock in the morning. But that's not against the law. So we can talk to them unless we see something to observe or in plain view that we can act on. You just say, hey, will you be quiet, Jim?
Yeah.
Somebody's called, whatever. And a lot of times they will, but sometimes, you have bad neighbors. And we have that in town of Robbinsville where neighbors are not kosher to each other. And they do it just to incite each other.
So perhaps we need to address this with our town ordinances at some point in the future. I know it's a sticky,
It's a hard,
yeah.
something, it's
I
hard.
know you're talking about it.
If you don't have that much trouble, I've never received a call out here about noise complaint. We've had one or two, like from somebody at the boat ramp or access maybe,
Okay.
And usually, if they're in a public area, you can address it more. But if they're in their residence, you have the right to be intoxicated in your home.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if you want us to come to your house, if we come down and you see minors or something, it's different.
Yeah.
But if it's like, you're all adults, you're there drunk,
So if there's a giant marijuana party.
yeah, But yeah, we can come and talk to them, but a lot of times it's not. And then sometimes they end up like we're social workers or babysitters, but
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what it becomes.
I got a question. I believe you identified that most of your, if not all of your patrols are on off-duty time that you bill this town for.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what, usually it's off duty or in the start of my shift or end of my shift, I will incorporate it into it
Okay.
and I'll come. I do patrol this, I guess, because out of a creature habit during my patrol shift, more so probably. Like sometimes I'll come in the earlier shift, but then when I'm down here, I'll go ahead and patrol it again because I patrol this area frequently.
Right, but you only bill for,
Yes.
do you only bill for the ones when you're off duty?
Yes.
Or, okay, so you don't,
If not, it's where I've incorporated it into my shift somewhat, if that makes sense. Like I'll come in earlier or late, or like today, I'm off completely, you know. But sometimes, like if I work a 2 to 2, I'll bill you from like 12 to 2. And I've came here earlier, made contact earlier in that shift, or sometimes on the way out, or whatever. It just depends how we're, you know.
okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Does the county, probably they do, does the county keep records of their standard patrols in this area?
Yes.
In other words, they don't project them, but after they're completed, like twice a month or 3 times a month or whatever it is there a record of that?
If the deputy calls it in.
If he drives through here and doesn't call it in, it doesn't get recorded?
No. They could go back probably and look at our CAD on your, see where you're at. You know, but that's not as easy. Like we call it in, we say, hey, I'll done patrol check across the creek.
Yeah.
Then they can go back and look it up, you know, and I don't know, like, they're gonna say Lake Santeetlah or whatever. Just depends how everybody, you know, they might not call it in. Some deputies don't call in their patrol shift as much on radio or whatever, but they can look at a CAD like this question where they're at and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
And I almost forgot, one last question. We have some sort of obscure streets that are kind of like, they're not through thoroughfares, they're just a circle down at the end or whatever. And I was just wondering, if you're going up into those little secluded areas from time to time.
Time to time, like I think, to the best of my knowledge, I think it was I forgot where I said I went a minute ago. I took those ladies home, I forgot down the road now. Yes, but like some of them make like Black Bear or Nine Other Trace or where they make a loop and you get up on it, it says dead end this way.
Yeah.
And we'll ride up there like I guess that's a water tower. It may go so far up there, it actually dead ends up there.
Yeah.
And you have to turn around and come back and you take a hard left and go back and go back into that snowbird. And
Sheila Trail.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Suicide
yes,
Hill. The reason I asked is that a homeowner had come up with an RV, and because they had a number of guests, they had parked down the street from where they were. And I don't know, it was probably you, but one of the officers came up and said, hey, there's no camping allowed in Santeetlah. And, you know, they thought maybe I called them out or something, you know, I don't know what it was. But I want to thank you for just being present there and handling that situation diplomatically and ask them that, you know, really they're not supposed to be camping in a circle with your camper. And they explained the situation, and I think it all went, you know, nicely. Having said that, I don't believe, do we have an ordinance here regarding people with large RVs or whatever, parking them on the street overnight for days?
you've got signage coming in that says they're not parking the roadway or something of that nature, don't you?
They can park in your driveway, right?
And they can park in their driveway.
I don't know. Is there overnight
Seems
parking?
like we
Did
could
we
have
not do something
boats,
about that?
but not.
Did we mention that in the new zoning?
We didn't mention, I don't think specifically RV, if I remember correctly, but we do talk about the number of parking spaces, you know, at a home we have. And we also, you know, like it's just said, we have signs up that says, you know, don't park on the roadway. And some people have their own signs up that says, you know, private
Private
or
property.
whatever. So, but in terms of camping, things like that, I don't think that's mentioned in the ordinance, but
be something that needs to be.
And,
Tightened up a little bit.
and now's a good time because we're taking a look at the ordinance, so.
So there's a couple of things we need to.
Yeah,
look at.
for me, it seemed like we weren't allowing campers
Some
on
of that
property.
might be civil issues, like if somebody wants to put a tent in their yard, but you all don't want them to, but they want to live in that tent.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a civil issue where you're gonna have to take action
Yeah,
as a board to have them removed. Now, that if you've got an injunction or something, we can enforce it, but that's not something that's gonna be against state law, or if you're staying in your camper on your private property. That'd be something the town would have to address, a civil issue probably, because it's not violating any state law, or not like,
You had kids camping.
yeah. if you
right,
had-
in case camping.
yeah.
But we had one incident where there was a camper just as you first come in, not too far down, and the
Yep.
camper had stayed there for a number of days.
Days,
So-
months.
Yeah, it was an
Yeah.
extended amount of
It
time.
was an extended time.
So it's my understanding, if we do not have an ordinance, we can't enforce anything, correct?
Correct.
So
That's
it's
basically the way it
important,
goes.
it's incumbent upon this council or whoever comes behind us to create that structure so that it can be enforced if that, in the event that that comes up, correct? But as he mentioned, we don't want to make it a police state, correct?
We
So
don't,
like,
and we have to be careful how we write it because it has to be enforced.
yeah,
And so then you look at, okay, how are we going to enforce it? Well, who is the entity that goes to this camper and says you must move? I
and
mean,
then that always brings up what
Think
about
through-
boats and all the other stuff. that's
Exactly,
parked out
think
there,
through all those
RVs,
steps.
yeah,
You
whatever.
essentially start at the end to get to where you need to start.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, no, I get it.
That's something we need to ask the planning board to take a look at.
Okay. I think we delegate that.
Mr. Lovin,
Kick it down the can.
in your relation to this, if the people have visitors who come, show up in a motorhome, it's a legally registered vehicle and stuff, parking in the street or on the side of the street would not,
If it's not impeding traffic,
If
if
they're
they're
not-
not be against the law, that'd be a county ordinance or city ordinance for you all to enforce, like you say, hey, you can't have like 3 vehicles. If it's not obstructing the roadway or a parking spot where it's something being enforced, if you decide you have a tent in your yard, or you've got a camper that you can get in your one parking spot, and they can stay in that, it's probably not against the state law or county law. It'd have to be something you can address where you can say, hey, you can just have so many people reside. I guess in your residence, you can't be building outhouses or pitching tents or having campers in your yard and permanent residence, or maybe, like Uncle Eddie shows up in his camper at Christmas. Can he stay there for a short period of time, or, is it like a 7-day, is one let him stay, or can he stay there indefinitely, or?
It's where he puts the septic tank.
That's right, so, but yeah, some of that stuff won't be that we can address. It's not gonna be, especially if it's on private land. If it's on public domain, like at the boat ramp, we can go down there and say, hey, you can't be here in a camper.
Okay.
And that probably would apply to this arena, but where it's in your, private property, it'll be something you'll have to address probably.
And I think the ordinance does address measurements, and I think that we worked on that a little bit. I don't remember off the top of my head what the measurement was, but the parking area was to be, 9 by whatever. And so that right there would probably preclude any RV or anything like that, but who knows? I think we still need to look at it.
the ordinance actually identifies 2 foot from the edge of the road. Anything parked within 2 foot of the edge of the road is illegally parked.
And some of that I think comes back to like on my personal opinion, is like, you need to be good neighbors, be civil to each other. If we have that, you can address it, try to, and ask them to move, hopefully they'll comply. If you get somebody that won't comply though, you might see your legal counsel asking, hey, what do we need to do? We can assist you in that, but you might open up a can of worms.
Well, the one issue is there's a lot of rental homes and exclusive just rental homes, so you're not always talking to the owner when they're doing something that is not neighborly.
And I think we've had that with
That's part of the problem, is there's an awful lot of people that are just here to rent a house. And
we've had that issue with Airbnbs, I guess. And I know like we've had like people's called and they've rented a house to somebody, and not here in Thunderbird, but other places, and then they'll call and say, hey, we want them people removed, they're up there drunk, they're doing this and other. It's not like a motel where if you rent that, we can just go run you off.
Yeah.
There's a step process we have to get through master it. Then you have to serve them. When they have like a 2-day notice or something like that, they can appeal it. So like if you're renting an Airbnb to somebody, I wouldn't rent to local people that, or they rent it to somebody local, and I think it's local. But if you rent to a bunch of high school kids or young people like that, you're opening yourself up to what you may get now. So I would check into who I rented to.
It's being a responsible landlord to the people.
Yeah, because if you rent it to a bunch of college kids, you may get what you don't want.
No, I get it.
One more thing, when it comes to towing vehicles, or the possibility of, if it's on private property, the property owner is the only one that can authorize it to be towed, correct?
The homeowner, yes, he'll have to call, we can assist him in that, he can say, we had that this weekend actually, on, over in State Cola. The homeowner owns a bunch of property, and some people came there and parked their thing, a car, and built a bonfire beside his, on his property, and he wanted them removed. We can assist him by getting a record, but he'll have to, it's nothing to me if somebody's parked in your driveway. You'll have to say, hey, we want them removed.
Yeah.
And you can call the record service, or we can stand by and assist in case it becomes disorderly, but it's up to you, Lee, actually to decide if you want it removed or not.
Squatters' rights, North Carolina, I haven't looked this up, but it's in the news nationwide. If somebody, we have a lot of houses that sit empty, somebody breaks in and starts living there, what are the squatters' rights?
I don't think there is, like, mine are, like, if you break in your house, we break in.
It's a break-in, yeah.
You break in, we go there, or like somebody comes on your property, and they don't live there, and you say, hey, I want them removed, I come around and say, hey.
If you extend, I know in some states, if you extend, like if you rent a house for a month or something, and or a year, and then you stay there without paying rent for 30 days and not evicted, you can claim squatters' rights. Some states have squatters' rights.
I think here, like, you can have, like, if you rent, or do like, or become a tenant,
Yeah.
they different, we can ask the magistrate, but it doesn't have to be a legal written document.
Right.
I can make a verbal contract, you say, hey, I'll mow your yard and rake leaves if you'll let me live here.
Right.
And that becomes a legal contract where you went into a contract to me that if I keep your house up, I can live there.
Right.
So you'll have to do an eviction notice. I can't just come run them off, but you've went into a contract with them. You probably have to go through the magistrate, and there'll be a 10-day notice, and then, they have a right to appeal.
Right.
So it's not just as easy.
Goes into the courts,
No.
and then only the sheriff can do it.
Yes.
And if they go to the post office and start having mail delivered there, they got rights.
You have to go to the magistrate to do eviction notice.
Swear to God.
So,
Had it happen.
Sure, whatever's under the sun.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I'll
thank you.
just-
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna excuse myself there.
Yeah.
It's his day off.
We need a day off.
It is.
That's all right, take care of that.
Yeah, have a donut.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Kim can get a hold of us or whatever, you can contact sheriff's department, and we'll try to assist you as we can.
Can we get your cell phone?
I'm afraid everybody, Kim may have it, I don't give it out though. I can't tell the county, I've been getting calls 24/7. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I guess we need to start with our old business. Update on the water tank fence.
Well, we went to the training last week and they pretty much assured us that it's not mandatory, but they may make it mandatory in the near future, and if they do, they'll provide funding for it. So we were advised not to do anything about this right now.
That's the good news. They provide the funding.
Well, we'll see at
I
this
see
point,
that
but
Chris Bradley is on it. I don't know if he has a report on the,
Well, you updated and removed it.
yeah, I know.
we did.
Hey, I'm here. Did y'all have a question for me?
Well, we had taken the broadband report off of the old business agenda, and we thought we might get some minutes from your meeting, but we didn't get those to attach to the agenda. Would you like to make a little report from your
I am
meeting?
not prepared for that. I appreciate the opportunity. I can tell you that, and don't get me the line here, but I think Roger Carlson indicated that he was going to prepare a set of minutes. I don't see him in the audience today, so he may be indisposed, but I'll follow up with him and see if we can't get something in writing to you guys outside this meeting.
Okay, I understand that there is a broadband workshop Is that on the 19th?
There is a session that is put together. It's not necessarily focused on broadband. It's focused on a much broader topic than that. And I'm sorry if that was an unintentional pun. One moment, I'll get you the exact info.
Dogwood Trust.
Dogwood Trust?
Yeah, so the Dogwood Trust is in that session. My understanding is that session will be focused on teaching. Dogwood wants to teach 501c3 organizations how to raise money.
Okay.
Moving right along.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I don't know if we'd be involved in that, or you and
I'm
Roger.
planning on attending.
Okay,
I'll take some notes.
okay.
Eric is working.
Pastor Eric is attending, and
Yeah.
either Jim or I might attend, and that's on the 17th.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an hour.
Oh, that's a lot to cover in just an hour. All right, thank you so much, Chris.
Yep.
All right, to the new business, we had a planning board meeting recently, and our chairperson, Ann Hager, to report on this meeting.
Yeah, so the last meeting was held on March the 22nd, and at that meeting, the planning board did choose to schedule a workshop to get public input into the changes that the public needs for the ordinance. There probably will be another workshop in June, just to make sure that we give everyone an opportunity to provide input. I would like to see more attendance at the meetings, especially now that we're into, let's look and see what the recommended changes are. Even if you want to say, I don't want any changes, we still want to hear that, so I think that would be good. Moving on, I want to address the reappointment of planning board members. The current membership consists of Beth Carlton, Glenn Burnett, Craig Keith, Bill Peel, and myself. Beth, Glenn, Craig, and Bill have all expressed interest on staying on the board. I do not wish to be reappointed. So, I recommend Lori Bailey to fill my vacant seat. Lori is a full-time resident. She was a Georgia CPA and worked her final years in commercial real estate in Atlanta, and she ended up being a CFO of her company. And as I say, she is a full-time resident, although it's not a requirement, it is a good thing to have in terms of availability for the meetings. So, should I ask the council to consider that, and should you all decide to do your reappointments and appointment, I ask that it be effective today.
Okay, in our, the next workshop, is that April 19th?
It is May the 17th.
May
There-
17th.
There is a meeting on April the 19th.
Workshop.
Is the workshop.
Planning board meeting, yes.
17th.
Your resignation is as effective immediately, is
Yes.
that correct? I'll make a motion that we appoint Lori Bailey as the new member.
Okay, as for appointments and appointed bodies, rule number 38, have to have a nomination.
Okay, I'll make a motion to nominate.
But do we need to nominate them all, Craig? Because their
To
term,
reappoint.
or reappoint,
This is separate.
yeah.
Are you
Help
gonna,
me.
are you
You're
gonna,
asking me? No, I
Yes.
don't, I think if you're just reappointing, I don't think they need to go back through the nomination because you're already aware of the qualifications.
Okay, so we would need to do that with this one, though. They would need to,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
I think so, and quite frankly, just as a matter of making it look good, which is now a legal term or phrase, I think, quite honestly, you probably need to put it out there on the website that there's an opening and allow people to nominate or participate rather than doing it on the fly. The four that you're aware of, that their terms are expiring and you want to reappoint them, I think there's nothing that would preclude that even from an appearance standpoint. And I think there's a resolution in your packet to that effect.
Okay, we have so for our appointments, for new appointments, we'll need to have nominate, and we need to
And I
put
think we
that out.
had requests from other people too, don't we?
We have had,
I got a request from Lori David. So would Ann need to stay a member until, well,
No, she's-
that's the 12th?
No, she's resigned as of today.
Okay.
I don't think the board has a quorum, if they're gonna meet between now and the next time this council meets. Again, my suggestion is you can move forward on the resolution with the reappointments for this seat, Ann's seat. I think you should put it on the website, and let folks know that you're gonna take up the issue at your next meeting.
We can reappoint. We can reappoint right now, but we need a nomination
No, not yet.
at the next meeting to put somebody new on.
We could call a special meeting for that.
You could call a special meeting too.
and I also read in here that a mayor may not make nominations or vote on appointments under,
But, okay,
we need to read.
here's the issue. You can back me up, Craig. We are not required, we made a motion 4 or 5 years ago that the mayor must vote. So we don't have, the council has already said the mayor's got to vote. Now, the mayor may not have the opportunity to nominate, but they still got to vote.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know what
So you don't have to
I
think
mean,
about
looking
that.
at, in terms of a pamphlet, but, I don't think we need to overcomplicate,
Yes.
the fact that, you've got 4 members of the planning board, their terms are set to expire, and you're wanting to reappoint, and you have the ability to adopt that resolution today. As to the announcement of resignation that creates a seat, the proper transparent process would be to then announce that vacancy on the website, to then take appointment of folks nominated at your next meeting. And if you want to, as was indicated by Jim, to call a special member to have people be nominated so that you can start the discussion at a special meeting, I think that's fine.
Yeah, let's not complicate it.
But yes, the mayor votes.
Okay. And it is not automatic for alternates to take this position.
No, there's no requirement. There's no requirement that an alternate is the next in line. That's not how it works.
Okay.
But they can run if they so choose, right? Or they can put their ring in.
Well, if someone would want to nominate them to move from the seat of an alternate to a regular member, that can certainly happen.
Okay.
Okay. We have a resolution to reappoint members to the Town of Lake Santeetlah Planning Board. Whereas pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160D-301, the Town Council of the Town of Lake Santeetlah has, through this ordinance, which I have a number for, provide for the appointment of members to this planning board. Whereas the following individuals have requested to be reappointed as members of the Town of Lake Santeetlah Planning Board for 3-year terms starting April 9th, 2024 and concluding April 9th, 2027. Beth Carlton, Bill Peel, Glenn Barnett, Craig Keith, and we'll remove
Yeah.
Lori Bailey from this resolution. Whereas the foregoing individuals possess the necessary skills to serve the town of Lake Santeetlah Planning Board in the manner set forth in North Carolina General Statute 160D-301B, and now therefore be it resolved by the town of Lake Santeetlah Town Council that the foregoing individuals are reappointed as members of the town of Lake Santeetlah Planning Board for the term stated herein. Do we have a motion?
Move to
And,
approve.
Madam Mayor, the two edits to the resolution that's in your packet would be to remove the one individual that's named, as well as to have him insert the ordinance number of the zoning ordinance from the Code of Ordinances,
Okay.
which she can easily do.
So move as stated.
I'll second.
All in favor?
No? Discussion.
Oh, discussion.
None. Okay, now we can vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a,
Next.
I guess this is the four
Changes.
vote.
I have a quick question on that next meeting on May 17th. What time and where is that going to be held for those that wish to attend? Can you clarify that?
That's not been decided yet, and actually, that probably was going to be on the agenda for the meeting coming up on the 19th. However, the concern is, I'm not sure that they'll have a quorum, because my seat is vacant, and Bill is still in Florida. And Craig will be there, and Beth will be there, I'm assuming. I'm not speaking for them, but they can be there. I will not be there as a member of the planning board. So I think that probably they might need to postpone the meeting. And
They have Glenn, Beth.
Glenn said he would not be there
Oh, okay.
for this meeting.
Oh, okay.
And so now he may change his mind, and if that's the case, then great. But right now, his schedule doesn't permit it, so.
Soon.
Okay.
Yeah, should be announced.
So without a board meeting, you can't cancel the meeting.
Well, if you don't have a quorum, you can postpone it.
You have two alternates that can fill open seats.
And we
They've
don't
been
have-
here for the past two meetings.
That's up to the chair.
So that's.
Yeah, I think if it's I do think if this is a fairly significant planning board meeting or direction, that it makes sense. Jim's suggestion to maybe expedite the process on consideration of nominations for Ann's seat.
Well, it would be the planning board that would decide to replace the chairperson.
No.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, the planning board decides the new chair.
Okay, but to appoint someone
Right, just
as a
for a
replacement.
member of the board.
Well, we can get the information out this afternoon or
Okay.
tomorrow. See who's interested, call a special meeting and take care of it that night.
Okay.
Perfect.
On the 19th, is that when it's scheduled?
Yeah, the meeting right now is scheduled for the 19th, but that's not the workshop.
Where have you traditionally been holding those? In your residence or the little?
Right
Not
here.
here, right?
Oh, yeah.
They were here, okay, good. Okay.
And it's typically been on Fridays at 1, and we've been putting it on that day because Craig will need to drive in, and he could just spend the weekend here with his family.
Yeah.
And also, it benefited Glenn because he was always working at home on Friday. But that can change, it just depends on the availability of the members.
Okay.
Okay, we'll check on that and.
So
we'll go
temporarily, I'm
ahead.
going to put it down for one on Friday the 17th. then.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And that can be
For the workshop.
updated to our citizens, right, if they want to attend?
Right, and then there'll need to be a lot of notice to be put out for the workshop.
Okay. And they're typically an hour or 2 hours, depends on the subject.
It depends. Right now, we've seen a lot of public input as to whether or not we want an ordinance.
Yeah.
But in terms of specific recommended changes to the ordinance, we really haven't received that, and that's what the board needs.
Do we ever poll our citizens on the critical mass, when let's say it's the camper issue, or it's the dog biting issue, or whatever it is, noise ordinances? Do we ever send out any kind of like, if it, or do the citizens rely on the council and the planning board to make those decisions for them?
I think they mostly rely on that. We did do a survey at the very beginning when we were developing the land use plan. And honestly, don't remember everything that was in there, but we may have alluded to noise, I'm not sure. But the thing about it is, whenever you do that, as I said, it has to be enforceable.
Right.
And then who enforces it?
Yeah, just because you want it doesn't necessarily mean you can have it.
Right, and even lights, you know, oh, my neighbor's light is shining into my window. Well, when you get into lumens and things like that, who's gonna go out and measure it? And, you know, you have to
Yeah, how many
kind of think
lumens?
through that, yeah,
It's pointing a laser in my window.
yeah, laser. So it's not as easy as it was.
Okay.
All right, thank you,
Sticky
Ann.
wicket.
We have a recommendation to send out notice for nominations for
I'll make that recommendation.
an
Okay.
interest.
I need to make a comment.
All right, comment first.
We need to put out a notice for people who are interested. Nominations are made by this council to appoint a member, and then we vote on it. But
they
the
need
interest, I mean, this is not a nomination out there for the public.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, we need to make that clear. I don't know.
So we'll
Do
send
we
out
pu-
an email.
do we publish that?
after-
Yeah, there you go.
After the meeting, and just say anyone's interested in being planning board
Put a
member.
deadline.
And when you do that, say, tell us about your qualifications. Give us some information about who you are.
And that there's a deadline, yeah.
And so when do you want the deadline to be?
A week. I mean, we don't need it to be a month.
Well, if we need this,
You got, how much time do we have to do for a special call meeting?
48 hours.
48 hours. Okay, so give them a week.
So that would give them until the 16th,
Well, I do it
Yeah, the
before
meeting is
then.
on the
April.
17th.
well,
The 16th
May
would be a
17th
week
would be
from
the
today.
meeting. Yeah.
and then we could hold a special call meeting on the 17th.
I think that's a great idea.
That's 17th, well, what time on the 17th?
Noon.
Or one of y'all gonna do that
At 1 o'clock?
class from 12 to 1 on Dogwood Trust? Because that's the 17th, from 12 to 1,
Let's do it at 1:30 then.
1:30.
Is that all right with everybody? Okay.
Okay.
Meeting noted. All right.
Okay. The next item on new business, number 5, mileage reimbursement request from Jack Gross to travel to attend planning board meetings. Mr. Gross has traveled from Florida up here for the past 2 planning board meetings and has submitted invoices of $603 for travel expenses between Florida and up here and returning to Florida.
So it wasn't 2 in a row? It was
No, it's 2 months.
Do you have the dates and times and what have you?
Yeah, it's all in.
Mileage and all that that he submitted?
I think it's submitted.
I believe Ann, as the previous chairperson of the planning board, has some comments to make about that.
Well, I had a question. Has anybody else been reimbursed for gas in the past? On that?
The only time was when Bo asked me to come up to his office in Asheville to prepare for a variance hearing. And he asked me to do that, I did it, what I get, $66, I mean, it's nominal compared to what it would have cost him to come here. But otherwise, no other member to my
You
knowledge.
saved the town money by going to him.
I did.
Instead of- All right.
So let's, since this is a request from Jack, why don't we give him an opportunity? I would suggest 3 minutes, just like any public comment, but just at least give him an opportunity to give his justification or rationale for why it should be reimbursed.
All right,
I think
let's
it's a good idea. That's a great idea. Let's
have
do that.
Jack, would you like to speak? And
I would ask for 2 additional minutes, at least 5.
I'm good with that.
okay.
Okay. Yes, Ann did claim mileage before, and didn't put in for it, Jim did. Jim basically told Kim to write a check. Mine was a little bit more thorough. I supplied MapQuest documentation, so forth and so on. I am an official sworn member as an alternate on the planning board. There were 2 meetings that I attended specifically to be here, to be able to fill a vacant seat, which I should be doing, either I or Mr. Davidson, as he is also a sworn alternate. Ann chose not to fill vacant seats. She made that choice, but I was here to fill it. There was a meeting in between, which I did not put in for mileage for, because I did not specifically come up here for that meeting. That was a meeting right around the same time as the town council meeting, I believe. So I did not put in for mileage then, because it came up previous for the council meeting. But when I specifically turn up here to be here to fill a vacant seat, I should be able to get mileage. Now, Ann will say the attorney asked her to come up there. Ann initiated the questioning of the attorney to learn how to do a variance hearing. And the attorney suggested, come up here. It would have been a wash either way, because the attorney would have charged travel time at the same mileage. The attorney did bill for the time he spent with it. That was outside of the monthly fee. So, again, fully sworn to the Constitution and to the job of an alternate. I was here just because she made the choice not to fill those open seats and allow people on Zoom to make recommendations and vote, which is illegal because we're not under a state of emergency anymore. Qualifies me again to be here to fill seats and to request mileage. Thank you.
I'd like to just say one thing. They may have voted, but we did not count it online because they are not able to.
I have 3 questions, Kim, of you.
Okay.
Was there a documented travel authorization? Do you have a document that authorizes that travel? From the planning board? Do you, Ann? Do you have a travel document authorization?
Ask.
Yes or no?
No, I don't.
Do you have a mileage log for this claim?
The one he submitted,
Do you have it?
yes, I think I see.
It's a mileage log, not a map.
Just a map,
Okay? Was Zoom available?
yes.
Thank you.
Jack, I have a question. Did you check to see if you were needed for that meeting?
I was here in case I needed to be. Nobody knows who's going to show up at the meeting unless there's a meeting before the meeting.
You have Ann's phone number, don't you?
You can't have a meeting before the meeting, Jim.
That's not a meeting, that's asking a
Jim, you're
question.
out of line asking that question.
No, I'm not. Therefore, based on what I've heard today, I make a motion we deny Jack's.
Hold on a second, Jim, hold on one second. So the planning board is an appointed board. And to my knowledge, that even in today's world, just like I'm here speaking to you, that appointed board members can speak via Zoom, WebEx, or whatever it is. And in fact, that happens all the time. And it's only in instances of a quasi-judicial nature that there may be an issue that comes up about whether or not they can chime in remotely or participate remotely. So I don't agree with Jack's statement about that. I was going to ask Jack, how long he's been on the planning board, because my understanding was he's been on the planning board more than since January of this year. That he's been on the planning board a lot longer than that. So I would like to ask Jack that question about how long he's been on the planning board.
I believe I was appointed last October. I think it was.
You remember, Alan, when you guys got appointed?
It was June, that was the June 8th meeting.
Was it?
We were both voted as alternates.
June 23.
June 8th.
Sorry, June of 2020.
My mistake.
All right, so June of 2023. So since June of 2023, Jack, how many planning board meetings have you attended, whether it be in person or via Zoom or the internet?
I believe I've attended all of them in person.
Okay. Prior to the two requests that you have made, had you made any during the past regime's oversight of this town? Maybe last year, did you make any requests for reimbursement?
No, actually, because the planning board was requested to have meetings, and the chair would not attend the council meetings to be instructed to please hold some meetings. So during that time period of the previous council, I don't believe there were any planning board meetings.
I thought you just got through saying you attended all the planning board meetings.
I have attended every planning board meeting to date.
You're saying there were no planning board meetings last year?
I believe not.
Well, we had
What
those,
about Board of Adjustment?
There was a variance hearing,
2.
but I was not an alternate yet, but I did attend those.
and
And
Ask
then
for
we can read
reimbursement.
I wasn't an alternate during those variance hearings.
Well, I'm sorry, were you a member of that board?
No,
So you're saying
Not
that,
until June.
I know June of 2023.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So here's the issue in and of is there's not a policy of the town, and this is, although you appoint, they're not salaried, they're not employed, folks are not employed, they're all ultimately volunteer, right? Everybody's volunteer that's appointed to either a committee or a board, but they're all volunteer. And generally, when you deal with reimbursement, you would have a policy in place that says, well, as a volunteer, we're willing to reimburse you for X. Or the opposite would be true. As a volunteer, we expect you to volunteer your time, and we wouldn't reimburse you for X. I'm not aware of a policy in this town dealing with this question. And in fact, the town's been around since 1989, and so when you point out one example of Ann being asked to come to Asheville, ultimately that's one example of how many, when it comes to people who have driven here or come to the town, whether it's as a council member or as an appointee. As you know, there are a number of council members who have secondary homes elsewhere, and they may be somewhere else and asked to come back up to the town. I'm just not aware of there being a course of conduct in this town to reimburse volunteers. There's the one example, which I don't think is an apple to apple for what's being asked. It's completely, I think at this point, without the policy being in place, it's completely discretionary. What's a little bit throws me off is there's not a prohibition of appointed board members attending via Zoom. In fact, I think Bill attends via Zoom.
But you can't vote. You can't vote to pass the minutes, you can't vote to open the meeting, you can't vote to accept the previous minutes.
That's not true. If you're, there is nothing that suggests an appointed board cannot transact business with a member voting remotely. And so, and it's a little bit odd to have two requests being made when it certainly was clear after the first request that there was an issue about asking or claiming a right to reimbursement and not having that issue dealt with. So the second request is even more a little bit disconcerting because I think in March, by that time, Jack was aware that this was an issue. And certainly, again, could have asked and communicated.
You need to you need to be aware of the oath of office that I took, sir, with the county clerk.
That was voluntary.
The oath of office.
No, it's mandatory.
The oath of office did not preclude you from communicating. The oath of office did not require that you be reimbursed because there's no policy.
You need to.
We'd have to look back beyond the one incident of Ann to see if there's a policy or course of conduct in this town to reimburse people who travel, who attend things. At the end of the day, I think you have the discretion to, in fact, pay Jack, but I do believe you have an obligation.
You have more than one instance of mileage. When the staff goes for training, they get reimbursed mileage. And it has been done multiple times.
They are employees pursuant to a contract, Jack. To a contract. You are a volunteer, with all due respect.
An appointed person is not a volunteer, Mr. Justice. How much are you going to charge to defend this?
Jack, it's as I've said before, it's an odd thing. As soon as the new regime comes in, for you to immediately make your demands when you've been on this board since June of 2023.
There were no other meetings to put in for, sir.
I don't have anything more to say, Mayor.
I do see from this copy of the check to Ann Hager that it is financially pre-authorized by Tina Emerson. Also, I have been appointed by previous boards to represent the town for the Southwestern Commission, of which I go to meetings bi-monthly and other events, and have never requested or been paid for my mileage. So I never realized there might be a precedence in requesting that. As for training, we also went to training recently.
Yeah, the entire council.
Practically, as well as staff, and council members were not reimbursed for our training. I do not agree with setting a precedent of paying.
I have a question. Did you go to Ann, the chairman, and request that, hey, Ann, if I come up, can I get reimbursed? I mean, did you make any?
No, because I don't know if
You just assumed.
I don't know if there's going to be a vacant seat for me to sit in.
I think you could have a good assumption that there would be.
If they're going to have a meeting before the meeting, sure.
Well, that's not the case. They can phone you, call you, let you know.
They would have to find out how many members are going to be present. She would have to contact every member. That is an official meeting.
But the point, Jack, was I don't believe that she authorized nor requested that.
I don't believe she needs to.
Reimbursed for your so-called time.
Who authorized hers? Jim did.
This is authorized by Tina Emerson.
Yeah.
You better read what Jim wrote. Please cut the check.
So what?
Tina only paid it because Kim told her that it was allowed.
He's a council member. He's a council member, so I could request it. Anybody could request it.
He didn't request it, he ordered it. Cut
What's
the check.
difference? What's the difference?
Well, last time I checked, I doubt Tina took orders.
Yeah.
Tina asked what it was for and if it was allowed, and I believe Tina was advised, yes, it was allowed by town staff.
Okay, there you go.
Well, she needed to go for,
Yeah.
we had a quasi judicial hearing coming up.
We don't have to justify.
And it was the first one that she had been through, so yes, definitely she needed help.
Quick comment. No prior authorization.
Yeah,
Yes or no? No.
no,
Zoom was available.
yes.
Yes. No mileage law, just a map.
Mileage is recorded on the request. Sir, both directions.
I'm not talking to you.
So, do we take a vote, or what do we do? What, Mr. Justice, do we take a vote on this, or how do we
We need a motion for
kick
it.
it down the road, or what do you want to do?
Request has been made, and the request has been made. And so I think you need to honor at least the request by giving it a vote.
All right. I'll make a motion that we take a vote on whether we,
Wait,
no?
I gotta clarify your motion.
Okay,
The motion is on the request.
okay.
We either gonna deny it or
So
we're gonna approve it.
okay, so we either, we're gonna take, how to, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
I move it that we deny the request
I'll second.
because there is no travel authorization. Zoom was available, and I don't see a mileage law.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Discussion?
Discussion. In that, I am notified if a board member will not attend the meeting. I'm sure that Ann would have been notified, and knowing that Bill Peel is probably not going to attend the meeting.
I was notified by text.
By
By
text.
text from Glenn. And all the others had been on the prior meeting and had agreed to the date. So there was no need to talk to them.
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Let's vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That would be a 4 of 4. All right, thank you. Let me see, what's next here? Draft budget presentation.
We had a budget workshop, I don't remember the date,
We only had one person that attended, and that was Alan. So
and it went out a week, maybe ahead of time. We did make a change from that. The council members did give their monthly fee to go for a scholarship fund at Graham County High School. That change was made, and we did give a 15% increase to Lamar Williams and the Water Fund.
how much?
5%, I'm sorry.
You're scaring us over
5%,
here.
yeah, I'm sorry. A 5% increase in the water fund, and we lowered kudzu from 500, from 500 to 200, and
Proposing an increase in the base rate in water, an additional $5 a month, and raising the usage rate from $4 a thousand gallons to $4.50 a thousand gallons.
and that was discussed in the workshop.
So
we still on?
we're still working on our budget.
Yeah, we're gonna have the budget hearing on May the 15th, and
If anybody has anything else to input, on the budget, please let the office know.
Can we discuss it quick? Or just not-
Sure.
Or do we wait? Okay. I was informed that part of the reason for the water increase, just for our citizens and people that, FYI, that our chemicals have gone up, our maintenance personnel costs have gone up, electricity's gone up, and we haven't had an increase. I don't know if anybody even looked at it to see how far back.
You remember what year it was? It's been a few
4 years ago.
I think 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago. So as we know with COVID and everything else, everything's gone way up. 5% works out to, we know kind of approximately what that works out, because there's a flat fee and then there's your water usage fee, correct?
The usage, that increase does not, it's not very much. $800 is, yeah, about what that comes out
And the
to.
flat fee basically goes to cover infrastructure and everybody pays that.
And if everybody could have been at the meeting that we attended
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah. So, we're just trying to be very transparent and make it clear why and what we're doing. This board came in because we wanted to keep our feet to the fire, which was roads and water, correct?
Exactly.
So I'm just trying to clarify for any citizen that's out there, there've been ample opportunities to come in and express your views. If we approve this in the future, those are the reasons and why we're doing things. So, we invite your input. If you have comments, contact us. If you have our emails, you can contact our staff. So we on any of these issues, not just water. So,
Should know that we're dropping the millage rate.
And I have asked for a new scroll. But Scott could speak to this a little bit better than me. We're gonna have to replace the batteries in the water meters. That's coming.
Yeah.
And they're just about like buying a new meter.
They're 8 years old. They have a 20-year warranty. That's I don't know what it's called, but it's prorated. That's on a scale. So tiered. The longer you wait, the less you're getting back.
Right.
So, so when exactly the time? We haven't had any batteries go bad. We've had some issues with a few meters, maybe 5 or 6 meters, but it's not battery for the meter. The battery for the display is different. It's actually solar.
Yeah.
We've had issues with that, but so anyway, all that to say is, I think they're 8, 9 years somewhere.
Something like that. And we put them in all at the same time, so the warranty
It's going to expire.
all at the same time.
Yeah,
So
and I-
they're gonna start going out. But
I couldn't get an answer from, what's his name, Charlotte, the main salesman, Mike. I couldn't get but he said typically towns, it'll be between about 15 years is where they're gonna start looking into.
Did he give you a price on replacing the,
What does a battery cost?
it's not the
Where
battery.
you don't, you have to replace the whole meter. So I think that, and they've obviously gone up. I believe they're around 280 now,
Well,
280-ish.
So even if we took this money and started saving a portion of it so that we could start.
it's coming soon, right?
Start at the 15 years and sequence the replacement.
Because if you do 15 years, you get something back.
Yeah.
I can't remember I don't know what percent. I can try to look into all that.
Well, but,
Figure it out.
the thing is, we shouldn't do it all at once.
Yeah.
Let's stagger it, start in,
Yeah.
okay, so at the 15th year, we get 0 back, or at the 20th year, we would get 0 back.
20th, I think.
Okay, so if we started on the 15th year and had a 5-year plan for 200 and something meters, I think we need to start and figure it out, how much money we gotta have.
How many meters do we have on site around here?
200, about 200.
200? Okay,
It's not counting the
200.
big meters that we have.
We
out
just
there.
put
The
those
big
in.
meters are brand new, so.
Yeah, that should be.
So if we had 200 meters at $280 a pop,
Yeah.
and started at 15 years, and we had 5 years to get them all done, that'd be 40 a year.
It's almost $300. You got almost $60,000 involved in the total project.
Yeah.
And if we stagger it out, each year we do X number. I don't know what-
40 of them.
12,000 a year. That we need.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the water rate will bring in, 12,000 a year.
So we're on target.
So maybe we need to
Pretty good.
put a note in our strategic plan
Yeah.
that, you
This is
know,
up
10 year, 15, on the 15th year, whichever year that is, we start. Otherwise, we get up,
Begin the process. Yeah. And then once it's staggered, it'll stagger indefinitely.
it'll, at the 20th year, they will have all been done. If any goes bad in the meantime, we'll recoup at least some of the money from the warranty.
Yeah, I like that. So we just learned at our last meeting for our fair citizens on looking strategically ahead at upcoming expenses and taking steps to alleviate that so we don't have to do a rate increase or sudden, draw on town funds. So just so everybody understands what we're doing here.
Yeah, the other option is to have the homeowners pay for the replacement. So it's either long-term
Yeah.
or pop everybody
Oh,
for
that's
the
complicated.
expense later, yes.
Then we get into whether somebody pays it or not.
This is not a development community, and
Yeah.
get involved in that kind of
Special
stuff.
assessment and that.
Yeah, special assessment, that's the word I wanted.
That's the last time.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I could just make sure I'm on the same page as you, so you're saying the cost that you guys regularly get from water is about the same amount of what you'll need? You're saying that amount?
The increase.
The $5 a month,
Oh, just the increase, okay.
$15 a quarter will generate $12,000 a year. And that's
Gotcha,
about-
okay. And that's all I was gonna make, because you're gonna have other costs still, that's all.
And
Yes,
You got
I request that
something
he,
about better than me.
I request that he bring back a report and let us know exactly, because it's possible that the 280 is changed to $300 or whatever per meter, so. If we
I
can
just
get-
bought a couple, so.
So if we can get
But I can,
if we can get something even in writing from them or whatever, or are there other major companies that we can perhaps change out to? I mean, are there other options?
Kevin, and the company won't project
They
to
won't.
keep that rate. They'll say,
They tell me.
well, at least we know for the next year it's gonna be X,
Yeah,
but there's no way you're gonna get them to commit to
You
a
said you had
15
to
years.
replace the entire.
well, that's true, yeah. I was thinking
I
just
thought-
this.
Well, no, I'm sorry, just the top
The
part, but that's the bulk of it, the rest of it's just a little bit of brass, it's,
Yeah.
just cost.
How much labor is involved in the change out? Half an hour, hour?
No, it wouldn't even take me that long, probably. It should be, there's no
You
problem.
drive up, pop the lid, unscrew a few bolts and drop the new
You
one.
don't even have to unscrew a few bolts, there's a couple little plastic pins you pop out and it shifts off.
Okay, so it's fairly simple, okay. So we're not talking rocket science.
Yeah, no,
We have to reset the meters?
the meters would have to be swapped out with Kayla
Okay.
on the water stuff, Kayla and Kim.
All right, makes perfect sense.
Okay, well,
Their job is probably harder than mine.
Budget amendment, we have a budget amendment. Kim, would you like to?
Yes.
Explain this.
So for the plow, we had not budgeted for the plow. It ended up in 10,000 or something.
Somewhere right around
Yeah,
there.
so that's for the plow and the toolbox. So we got to get the money in there for that. And then we got an estimate to get some danger tree removals done in this budget year, and we needed $500 to be able to get all the ones that Scott felt was necessary. So.
And we had 3,000.
We had 3,000 already in there, so I took 3,000 in there, we needed 500 more. So I took 500 from employee insurance and put it in danger tree removal so we can take those trees down within the next couple of weeks. We had $3,920 in set aside for truck payment, which we did not need because we paid for the truck. And then there was $7,000 still in the increase in the sales and use tax. So I took those two together to make up the difference for the truck.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendments.
I'll second that one.
Discussion?
Oh, yeah, too fast.
We already did.
We already discussed it? Okay. Do we have a vote?
We're pretty slick.
All in favor?
Aye. All right, we have a 4 of 4 approval for the budget amendment. The quick thing for the Western Carolina hosts the North Carolina Department of Transportation. I attended a dinner at Western Carolina University. They were hosting the North Carolina DOT. For the past couple of years, our Southwestern Commission, which covers 13 counties, we've been trying to get the Department of Transportation to come to Western North Carolina and review the roads that we've been working on. So we had, yes, pretty much. It took 2 years to get them scheduled up. We had a huge bus that came from Raleigh, and pretty much every representative from every district in the state attended, plus their support. So it was a great showing. They had a wonderful, well, they came to Graham County, they went to the high school, they did drive over Corridor K, so they were able to see what was going on there. They did not get to Cherokee County. This was as far west as they did get, but they were very impressed. I talked to just about everybody and all the board members for North Carolina Department of Transportation. They were very impressed with our western counties here, and we had a very interesting dinner. They actually did steak. So,
Nothing's too good for our elected officials.
well, there are many of us mayors there and other representatives of the counties. So then next is change of the date for the May council meeting from May 14th. I have a conflict on that date. Kevin has a conflict on that date. So we need to look, especially Keith, look at our calendars to see. I believe we have the budget hearing is May 15th. So we can either try and do our meeting on the 15th or prior to.
I have a previous commitment. So.
You have a commitment.
On the 15th?
I do.
Okay, so will everybody else be here on the 15th? Because that's a public hearing.
I'll be here.
I'm here.
You're here.
Jim, you're here.
Okay, well, at least we
What
will
about,
have a quorum. Ralph, he's
Going on.
not here right now,
He was
so,
ill today.
yeah, he's been ill, so, hopefully in a month,
Yeah,
he'll be doing better.
So when do you want to change the meeting date to?
I think he's still thinking the 15th.
You try and do it on Monday
Monday,
or,
The
the
13th?
15th is
no,
Wednesday,
15th. Well,
15th
we
of
can
May.
do it the same date
That might get-
prior to our budget workshop. Or that's the hearing, that's the public hearing.
That's a public
The
hearing.
15th is the public
Yeah.
hearing. So you could do the meeting before that if you wanted to, if y'all want to do both in one day.
And we'll just try and have a shorter meeting.
What time is the public hearing?
Noon.
9?
What time?
Noon
Noon.
on the 15th.
So that would mean that we could
11.
do it after.
If we have no changes for the public hearing of the budget, can we also approve the budget?
You approve it in June.
We approve it in
Okay,
June.
well then have the
Okay.
meeting afterwards. I mean, it was such a contentious budget hearing the last time. I mean, Alan was the only one here,
He raised quite a ruckus.
including Zoom.
Um,
So, doesn't look like it's gonna be too exciting.
Probably not.
Well,
Pick a date, let's
can
go.
we set a time then for it? That would give
Well,
us,
you could say that you're gonna have the, council meeting at 10, and the public hearing will be within the
Yeah,
council meeting,
we just have to move to go into it.
public hearing. Then
Okay.
come back out and finish your business, or you could do it at 12, and just say you're having it within whatever works.
okay. Well, that sounds good
Ten
to
works
us.
for me.
So
So have public hearing at 10 or council meeting
The
at
whole
10?
thing.
Council meeting at
Council
10.
meeting at
Including the public hearing.
10, and then include a public hearing
Within the meeting.
within the meeting.
Yeah, just,
Our legal counsel would,
can you do that, Craig, on the 15th of May?
may not need to stay for the
Yeah,
public hearing.
yeah, that's fine.
So 10 o'clock on May 15th.
That works.
All right. Do we have to have a motion to change the meeting
Yes.
date?
Also move.
I'll make, okay. Seconded. Any discussion?
Any further discussion?
you're not,
No. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. 4 of 4. Request for public comment.
We got,
We have a list.
Anybody
Alan?
on Zoom?
At the top, yeah.
Debbie?
it's a 5-minute deal, right? We agree to that.
Is Zoom going, or should I go? I'll always prefer to Jim to tell me when to start talking.
We're at 3 minutes.
I didn't read the agenda for the meeting today, so I didn't know, I'm bad about doing that. I'll just figure out what's going on when I come. I want to thank Ann for her service to the town, because it's a tough job, especially being the chair, and you serve with distinction, and we need to encourage people in the town to step up and serve in those roles. It's rarely easy, because there's all kinds of opinions. Everybody's got an opinion, and it's like, you know the old saying, herding cats? It's like herding angry cats.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. Thank you for stepping up to serve. And I mean, I've thrown my hat in the ring, as we all know, and I want to serve the town.
Here, here. We
I care about
appreciate her service. Yes, thank
To
you.
that point, I think it's important that, keep in mind that a differentiation of opinion is healthy. You get a more cohesive, relationship. And I would like to encourage everybody to get involved, give their opinion, and be willing to serve if they have the ability to do that. And to encourage different voices. We all don't have to be in lockstep opinion about everything, And I just think it's healthier and you get a better result when you have people that give, an opposing view or something, It's, So that's just all I wanted to say, was thank Ann for her service and lead, into, hey, we can, all disagree, but we can all work together. So.
Here, here.
Thank you.
We all live here. Yep. Amen.
Betty?
No.
Who?
Betty Below?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just had a couple of announcements for TPOA, if I could say those.
Sure.
Dues are due for TPOA, and we'd like to have them in by April 22nd, if possible. And newsletter items are due by April 23rd, so like towards the end of this month, if you're going to be submitting something, if you'll have that done by then. And if you'll send your photos directly to Charlie Matthews at cmatthews266@brighthouse.com instead of to me, I would appreciate that very much. Very nice meeting. I commend you all.
Thank you, Betty.
Jack?
Okay, I got a few things to talk about. Number one, I was kind of surprised that this board didn't realize that Mr. Hager might have had a conflict of interest in that mileage thing, since how he is the one that put in for mileage with Ann. So that could be an ethics complaint. The the appointment of the planning board members and stuff, why was this not put out to the entire community? Why was just one person confronted and asked if they'd be on the board? And are you actually giving enough time to the public for people to mull this over and then possibly turn in an interest? You're trying to rush things that don't need to be rushed. You have alternates. You can use them. That's what they're there for. That's what the zoning plan identifies. I have questions as to the zoning administrator. Does he have a new contract? Is he under contract? If so, I've asked for a contract, but it can't be provided apparently. And one last thing, are we once again illegally collecting TDA monies? Because to the best of my knowledge, we do not have a TDA board.
We still have a quorum of 3.
You have a conflict of interest being the mayor and the chair of the TDA board, I believe. So, again, we can say we have 3. We talked about looking for new members. It was said that it would be quite easy to find, possibly. But it disappeared off the menu, off the agenda. So, do what you're doing. Start looking into stuff like that. Thank you.
All right, announcements, budget public hearing, May 15th.
Can we comment on?
No.
No.
That will change to 10 a.m. council meeting with a public hearing within our meeting on May 15th. As for the planning board, scheduled 2 workshops. Maybe change up there to be decided. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for sitting through another long
Concrete, man.